Hey everyone, Kensuketi here. Now, I know you're thinking, who is this and why is he in my ear? Well, just be thankful it isn't in your rear. I don't know how people deal with sound vibrations there. Personally, I'm glad it's not there either. But I'm here with a brand spanking new episode, of Toku for Two. You might ask, why are you sounding so subdued? Where's Christian? Where is that fucker? Well, he went away to a better place. No, really, he fought a good fight and he won. Quarter-life crisis and all that cool shit. As for my voice, it's the middle of the week. People are getting their downtime. You know how it is. But it's not just me here today. It's also one of my co-hosts from Big Mecha But Not Huge. Say hello, Will.
Hello.
Fantastic. So, we're here to talk about a brand new show that just started airing this past weekend called Gavan Infinity. These podcast episodes for Gavan specifically will release weekly every Thursday, and you'll get our standard episodes every Sunday. Stay tuned for that. How's that exciting for your ear? I will also hold off on full introductions for this show, as obviously we're not at full cast, but we will be at full cast this weekend. So until then, let's dive in. Will, how are you?
I am well.
I'm glad to hear that, Will. Haha, see? I knew I fucked that up. Did you watch this brand new show called Gavan Infinity?
Yep.
So, obviously, we're going to be holding off on introductions about Toku and all that other stuff in general, but let's go ahead and talk about Gavan. What did you think, just in general thoughts, about this particular episode, having not experienced anything else other than, some things here and there?
Red.
Very red.
Next episode, blue.
Is it? Because I thought next episode was silver.
No, it's blue.
Okay.
Red has silver too, so it's the primary color is the primary, silver is the fill-in.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense. Interesting.
Yeah,
okay.
When you look at the full designs for both, it's not just design; it's also design language. They are leading into, I don't know who did it first, but anime and shows like this share certain design language. One of those things is main character wear red, leader wear red.
You know who didn't have that, though? The original Digimon anime.
No, they didn't do that at all. They didn't even even the Digimon don't, like, Digimon has always been a weird, odd duck holding a gun, but it's just, yeah, Digimon's always been weird is really the only way I can put that. Digimon has always been odd and strange. Even when you compare, like, the thing it's based on to the thing that wound up on TV, they keep reinventing both of those so hard that they're like their own thing.
But you are absolutely right. When it comes to a bunch of different Sentai-esque shows, whether it's this, Power Rangers, even, what's that show you're watching? Not Ronin Warriors, Samurai Troopers. Ronin
Warriors,
the leader's always decked out in red.
It is Samurai Trooper, yeah, and he's also fire. There's also two dudes who are blue, one that's kind of turquoisey, one that's dark blue. The dark blue one is arrows and the sky. The kind of turquoisey one is actually water. There's a green one who is light, which is kind of lightning, like actual electricity, but they refer to it as of the halo. There's a whole lot of, like, symbolism that leans into that one, and then they lean into elements for some of the characters. But no, this takes the design aesthetic of red, passionate leader guy, then blue, cool, potentially wears glasses, sword guy, who's reserved and conservative, and it's like they're leaning really hard into that. They are not hiding the influences.
I know that you haven't watched King Oger. They kind of did the same thing with the King Oger as well, but like I said, I've only watched the first 10 episodes of that, so that whole show is just all over the place.
Honestly,
eventually, we are going to end up reviewing King Oger, because that show is fantastic.
Yeah. I forgot how much shows like this are made, like, explicitly, A, to sell stuff, and B, like, really, really aimed at kids. This feels like a Disney Channel TV show, essentially.
But what's weird about that, though, is watching, like, let's say Power Rangers, let's even go up to Power Rangers in space. It still doesn't even have the same feeling that this particular show did, where it still felt like, even though it's geared towards kids, it doesn't feel like a show that's just for kids.
I will also say that right now we only have one character, so there's no
True.
ensemble to actually have them play off. And in shows like this, you tend to lean really hard into certain personality traits, and the main character is positivity, optimism, and so it's very youthful. So when you get all that, he feels kind of like a kid a little, and that's just a youthful energy thing. So getting some other characters in with other perspectives will probably help round it out and have like a full human personality rather than just a few aspects. But it's very CG. I did not expect the large amount of CG to be in this one. Like there's still a ton of practical. The suits, when they showed the monster and it was a guy wearing a giant rubber suit, I was like, thank you for keeping this alive. Someone appreciates this. Thank you. Episode 1, and you have a full suit on this man, and you're definitely going to kill him, and we'll never see him again.
So I don't know how much CGI was done prior to King Oger, but King Oger, I know that they specifically did a lot of scenes like that because of COVID, because that's around the time that it came out.
There are parts of this that feel like a YouTube show is kind of the only way to... There's a lot of like heavy green screen parts. And
I can definitely see that, and
that is a desk
I do eventually
and a
want to
green wall.
get into like the most recent Ultraman that came out I think was Blazar, or maybe that was
that
like
one's
the
interesting.
one before then.
I watched
but I
like 5 minutes of that one, and it starts off with soldiers getting blown up in a city.
Yeah, it's how it has like a completely different design aesthetic. I mean, they're obviously completely different companies that are doing it, but it's just like, all right, this is what we're in for.
Wait, who does this one?
Toei does this one. Subaraya does
Toei
Ultra.
does... I thought Ultraman was Toei.
No.
That's why Godzilla is in the original Ultraman show, but not as Godzilla. It's just the Godzilla suit with extra stuff tacked onto it.
So, funny thing about that, since Christian and I actually did Ultra Q, there is an episode of Ultra Q called Gomez. And there's also another one, I don't remember the name of it, but it was basically like this ice lizard that were basically a variant suit of Godzilla.
Mm-hmm. It's got like a neck frill
they ended
thing,
up using that,
and that's it. They just slapped on a neck frill, and they're like, that's totally a different monster. I don't know what you're talking about. And just looked right in the camera. And
that was strictly just because back in the day, Subaraya and Toei actually... Or not Toei, Toho actually did...
My brain is confusing Toei and Toho. I haven't spoken of each enough recently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Toho
Kamen Rider
is the
and
main
Sentai and everything else by that are actually Toei.
Company. Yeah. Toho are the ones who make the special effects, essentially, and their stuff got shared in a bunch of shows.
Yep.
So
yeah,
and it still does, clearly. Clearly they're still employed doing that. But a bunch of the Godzilla movies have had CG in them too, so it's fine.
So at least with this, even though it has CG, the CG doesn't look terrible. It actually is relatively appealing to look at. Like, you get started off with like these giant mechs with guys riding on the mechs, and I'm like, oh shit, this is their version of Zords. Are we gonna see it? Nope.
Yes. Yeah, all of their ships are unique, and each one transformed into a giant robot mode. Yeah, they did that as the catch your attention moment of the first 5 minutes, and they'll slowly reintroduce those in a longer form later on.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what I'm expecting. So
I will say what I liked on the CG was it's very stylized. So I don't think they're not leaning in like, let's make it look super realistic. They're like, no, this is incredibly bright and colorful. It's basically a kid's show. Let's lean into that and make it, it's a giant metal spaceship, but it's going to look a little cartoony in a good way. Yeah,
and let's also talk about his weapon here real quick.
Which one?
The giant gun that he uses to input the emo gear.
So I don't know why gun is the transforming thing in this show, because he doesn't fire it. He just loads it. He shoots it like a gun, but to transform, he just loads it, and then he transforms. I'm not going to lie. I feel like this is one of those, we've been doing this for 60 years. There's only so many things you can hold to transform with. And somebody was like, you're not wrong.
Well, just to go back on that then, so with King Oger, from what I was able to see, every single henshin or transformation that they do is brought upon by inputting certain commands into their swords. They all end up getting certain swords. It does like different key commands, and then from there you're able to turn into whatever Sentai or Ranger that you are designed to be. So I'm assuming that's just something that they brought over from the Sentai era, basically saying, all right, everything has to have its own gimmick. This is this particular gimmick, which is the gun.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm also not gonna lie. The two things I really like are, one, I get it. We are selling products at the end of the day. I know where the money for the show comes from. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Two,
You give me money now.
I like that the gun, he basically loads it's emotion gear, like jammed together as two words.
Emotion energy gear.
Emotion energy gear, which is where the R comes from, is the word energy.
Yep.
Gear. But he basically slaps it in there, and then whatever emotion he throws in, he can shoot people with it, and they get affected by it. It's really funny. It's goofy, but I would play a video game where that was a thing. That is Ratchet and Clank.
Okay, that's exactly what I was going to say. Oh. How funny was it to me, or to you, that it's basically pulling a lot from different JRPGs into this? Because I swear to God, as soon as he put on status effects, I'm like, this is fucking Final Fantasy.
It's going to debuff the shit out of it. So what you're going to see here, I would love like a John Madden breakdown of the fight. You're going to what you see here is he's going to load his Amor gear, and he's going to hit this guy with a debuff, and then these two as well, and they're going to stop fighting. He's going to come around here, transform, double kick this guy.
They're going to get the charm.
Funny.
They're gonna get charmed. They're gonna get berserked at one point.
Get charmed. He berserks another guy. It's gonna be funny watching him do that the entire show and just kind of goof. It's a goofy mechanic, but it really is enjoyable.
No.
Also, his ship is basically a giant cannon.
It looked like a giant gun.
All he uses it to do is open a door to go from one dimension to the other. And I'm like, that is the least... You didn't have to make it look like a gun to do that. You did not need to.
Which means it's more than likely going to transform. I guarantee that it will.
I will say, this reminds me of Scryed, though. I know that's
really.
A weird
I don't know anything about Scryed. Explain.
So, the anime Scryed. In the manga Scryed, in the anime, he basically has an arm, does things, and it's about it. In the manga, he loads literally, emotion. So, he gets upset about people being harmed, and then he turns their, pain and suffering into bullets, and that's how he loads his original, first form arm in the manga. And then he uses it's meant to be like a retribution punishment thing, where he loads it with that, and then he fights the person that he's fighting, and it hits him. So it's literally emotions and suffering and all that loaded into it, and then he decks the person that he's fighting. They don't keep that, I think, for the second or the third form, but and then it gets weird and there's time travel and he loses an arm, but not important. The manga is also very different from the anime. Anime is wonderful, highly recommend. But in the manga, he literally loads emotion, and I think the translation they went with was shocking something bullet. I have it on my shelf. I will check later. But
okay.
And it just reminds me of that, because he literally loads. Is very weird, and magic and technology fused together. That show is very strange. And for he essentially feels the suffering around him, loads up his arm, and then siphons a bunch of the energy into it and uses that to load his attack.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Of course, I haven't read it in a really long time, so I might be only partly remembering that, but...
Let's try to get through the synopsis of this particular episode. That way we aren't here forever. Because, you and I definitely would.
Yeah, I'm kind of hoping to keep these a little more bite-sized. We can talk long in the main... We can even, as the show goes on, our main episode, when we're talking about a totally different Gavan, we'll reference it, and we'll have a little longer form there, because this is going to run forever.
So, So,
at least a year of this.
It starts off with a giant space battle. You've got these 5 android-looking fuckers that show up that are riding their giant gun... Zords, I guess.
They're giant ships that turn into Zords, and then main character stuff.
Yeah, and so you're introduced to this investigator named Reiji Doki. He is essentially the Red Ranger, or the Red Gavan, Red Sheriff Gavan, whichever. And he's in charge of trying to track somebody down who has stolen Emorgi, which are basically the emotional energy canisters. And he's trying to get this particular one that's on some kind of version of Earth. And as he's tracking him down,
how long is this
other police officers are there trying to do the same thing.
We just start calling them emojis.
I think we might have to in order to actually say Emorgi, because Emorgi just sounds really
okay.
hard.
It's not that. It's Emor Gear. That you keep shortening it, but it is Emor Gear.
Well,
which is
I am
awkward
actually
to
looking
say
on
in
the
English.
wiki, and it says Emorgi crimes.
So those are Emorgi, like Emorgi.
So Emor Gear is the thing that you put into the gun or wear around your neck or whatever. But Emor G is the thing that's inside of it.
Oh, so the Emor Gear is the physical like canister. The Emor G is the thing that lives inside of it that we eventually, yeah. Okay. God, words.
Yeah, I know.
All over again.
Yeah, I was about ready to fucking say, isn't it just like the...
Jesus Christ, all I need now is lightning telling me about falsies and lissies and just someone give the man in a trench coat a girlfriend. God.
Oh, God damn it. All right. So he's tracking down this dude. He ends up getting ambushed by all these other criminals that are like in support of this dude. And he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna take you down one by one, except he does it in a really cool fashion. He like does all these flips, jumps, and he hasn't even transformed yet. And
no, it was choreographed like dance. It was quite lovely.
It really was. And as he's being chased, everybody's got a gun. He's dodging all the bullets and shit. And then someone pulls out a fucking bazooka.
The best part of that fight was off screen, running on screen. Guys, I brought our bazooka. It doesn't even say it, just whips it out, starts firing. It fires like 30 rounds from that thing. Just absolutely destroying that city. I felt very bad for the people who live in that town. I'm like, are we going to fix that? How many people are dying?
There wasn't any damage from that. I thought that was great. And so he's like running on the roof at this point. He's trying to gain some leeway, and then as soon as he jumps off the roof, he turns into the first. He uses his first henshin for Gavan, but it's really quick. You just see him actually transform. He gets to jump down, then he's going against these other guys. Say what?
I really appreciated that there's two transformations. There's the we want to show it to you, and then there's the like,
let's get.
This is what
action.
It actually looks like to the rest of the world.
Yeah. Oh God. When we get to that part, we will. Oh God. So he is fighting these other criminals that are there, and he's trying to take down that one dude that he was, trying to get the Emorgi or Emor Gear from. God, it's really hard to say that. And
it's not a great word.
It's not.
Just hard.
Yeah. I think at one point they knock him against the wall, and then he, instead of actually slamming into the wall you think he would, he just like jumps off like he's fucking Dante from Devil May Cry. And then they try to slam into him with their own Emor Gear issues, or Emorgi, and slam into the ground. I'm like, huh. So even with him transformed, he goes into a wall, no damage. As soon as they try to go after him, all of a sudden there's damage everywhere.
Look, sometimes the after effect happens, and then the stunt team shows up.
True. And then with that stunt team, he ends up charming them with his status effect gun.
Just goofy and dumb. Very fun.
But it's really funny. And then after he subdues them, he takes the Emor Gear away from them, and I guess the actual cops show up, and they're like, hey, guess what? We're taking your thing.
So basically, he works for... they allude to it, and then like 2 minutes later, they explicitly say, the guy you just watched who's insanely powerful and really good at fighting works for essentially Black Ops, and he is officially employed by like the accounting division, essentially. That's the level of like, he's a paper pusher and does nothing, but you just watched him absolutely wreck these guys and not even take it seriously. The guy and the giant yellow robot, who are a detective and his robot partner, take the dude, get the collar, as the cops say. They get the credit, and Gavan doesn't give a shit because that's not how he's judged on his job. Because that's not what his job is.
He was only there to really get one thing. Yeah.
His job is to get stuff done. Technically, he completed his objective, which was to steal the little Emor Gear that the guy had stolen. He was supposed to get that back. They didn't really care if he got the criminal. They probably wouldn't have cared if he killed the guy. They're like, just get the thing. We don't care about that dude. So he let them have the collar. Their life is better. And he's like, oh, whatever. They feel happy. I don't care. So he goes to, was that a restaurant that he goes to?
It kind of looked like a pet shop.
Or like a or like, no, I think it was like a makeup store. He just walks in and then walks into the back room, and there's a freaking shuttle that he's going to take into orbit. As
So
you do.
doesn't that? It almost felt like, if we go back to the JRPG comparisons, it almost felt like that. He's going into the different worlds, and then he can go into any random door at this point, and somehow like end up in the Velvet Room.
So what happens is he walks in there, then he gets to the save point, and he selects fast travel.
Yep.
And when he selects fast travel,
go back
shuttle
home.
animation plays to show him going to
Board
orbit
airship.
where his base is. And when he's up there in the base, he meets the other people, and then he talks to his boss. And it's like, God, this really is just a video game. All right.
Yeah. So what happens when he gets back on his ship?
So he gets on his ship. I kind of figured she was a robot with how they were having her talk. She looks like a human lady, but she's literally like I figured she was some sort of like actual android helper bot thing, played by a living, breathing woman, because that's way cheaper. She dresses like they do in some sort of uniform. There's her. There's a guy in the chair, as one has to have, and who wears glasses. It's just cause. And then there's their boss, who's not physically. I don't think he is, but we never see him get up. Or no, does he stand up at one point to express surprise?
I don't remember. I was trying to make a Barbara Gordon
We'll
joke.
have to check. Yeah, there's no clowns, so he's fine.
I don't know.
No
Everybody's a riot, if you ask me.
All I know is she was a woman, and that was her fault, and that's what the mistake she paid for. So they shelved her for decades, like a book.
Wow.
I'm not even joking. That when the original man, she went down, and she did not get back up for decades until somebody turned her into a different character.
That's true.
All
about Barbara Gordon, by the way. Let's get that clear.
Yeah. Android Lady is fine. She does teleport at one point in the episode and give first aid, though, so she can do that. Well,
that was actually kind of cool.
The ship can teleport, I assume, although they didn't show them do it to anyone else. He had to take a shuttle down. She teleported because they needed to as an emergency, but it makes me wonder if also that's like a thing where she can teleport. They can use the ship to do that with her, or it's a thing she does, and then they are all like flesh and blood, so they have to actually travel normally. Because like Gavan doesn't teleport down to the planet. He has to actually fly. Also, did you notice when they were doing the dimensional transfer after their boss talks to them and goes, "I have a mission for you. Go save the universe." Literally. That's the thing. It's like, you're the main character. Go save the world. Yep. And then they go to save the world. Did you notice what he charges the ship with? Red energy.
Oh, did he?
Yeah. When they go from one dimension to the next, he has to load the ship with energy so that they can do the punching through reality thing. The main character, as Red Gavan, as I will call him, he loads it with positivity. That's the word that they translated in the subtitle. I don't know Japanese. Perhaps it was something more nuanced. But he says essentially positivity, and then he like grips it, and they show red energy going down his arms and going into the ship, and then it activates its thing, and it punches through, and they go to a different Earth.
So with the wiki up, it says Reiji connects his positive Emorgi waves to the Cosmo Gavarian.
He's
many fucking words.
It's coming from him was the part that I found impressive, because they don't show it coming from any of the stuff he's wearing. It comes specifically from his arms, and he's not transformed, which makes me think that the Gavan armor and transformation, they're eventually going to mention that it's like physically, it's an expression of like his energy. That's why he has it. He like matches up with it, and that's why he's able to equip it, or that's where it comes from. So like a sync rate with like, Evangelion. Except no dead parents or abuse.
As far as we know, there was a flashback to something.
There was, actually, now that you mention it. Maybe there is abuse in dead parents. There was no... Let's put it this way. His boss did not steeple his hands in front of his face and then look angry the whole episode. So, anyway, he loads it with positive energy. They punch through, land on a different Earth that isn't this Earth, and then they have to basically go stop a dumb kid who's like, "Everything sucks, man." And it's just like the worst, dumbest version of a 1960s protester who's a hippie, essentially, is this dude. Except he can shoot explosions out of his hands. So,
another Final Fantasy trait, basically.
basically. And he just sits there casting flare over and over and over and blowing, or more like fire, I guess, or fire. Just keeps casting that over and over and blowing everything up. And all these entirely normal people are like, oh god, oh god. And he's got a whole bunch of minions, as you do. And then when the minions are fighting the cops, essentially, they start to lose because they're just minions. And he basically casts a different
Berserk.
spell to
He
raise
casts
them.
Berserk.
He casts Berserk even though they've lost most of their hit points, and they get back up as essentially zombies and start trying to wail on everybody.
Yep.
And then
And don't forget
Gavan
his sister
shows
showed up to try to plead with him.
Oh yeah, the guy who's being emo is his
Emo
sister
Roo. I'm gonna
showed
call
up
him
to
that.
try. Yeah, she shows up to try and talk him out of it, and he's like, "No." And
No,
then
you
he shoots
can't
at her.
have me be happy.
God, my version of a dub for this episode would be really pedantic. And,
mine too.
Probably terrible. Yeah, so his line is "No," and then he shoots at her, and
Well,
then
I
they
think it
jump to
was
the
like,
next scene.
no, you are worthless to me, or some shit like that.
Yeah, he's just being emo and whiny and like,
Yeah.
dude, go sit down and drink some tea or something. Calm down. You're fine. Get a hobby. If you just get a cat and a hobby or whatever. Anywho, she gets hurt, so Gavan shows up out of nowhere. They're very confused. The guy who is coordinating the like police response, who is Mr. I'm a cool samurai man, he's coordinating them as like their boss guy, and he's watching from afar, and he sees the Gavan guy show up, and he's like, that's weird. And he just sort of notes it, and then we move on. Gavan saves the sister, and she's hurt, so Robot Lady teleports to give first aid. She starts giving first aid. She's like,
earring.
It's energy. It's sci-fi generic first aid where you don't have to show anything, so it's just glowing energy that magically heals you, essentially. Mm-hmm. Like in most sci-fi. And Gavan gets all righteous justice about it, stands up, and then marches off to go fight the dude.
I'm gonna beat your brother.
Yeah, and then he goes to beat up her brother, who deserves it at this point. And as he shows up, we then get a pretty sweet fight scene.
Okay,
honestly.
no. You're
Like,
missing out something really, really funny. So he shows up, and at this point, it's the Berserker Rage ones going against all the different cops and everything else. So he shows up.
Yes.
He uses a green version of his gun to basically lasso everybody up into different groups.
Yeah.
And
He
then
just
as soon
wraps
as
them
he's
all
done,
together like
he
a
looks at the
lasso.
cop,
He doesn't-
hands him the green gun, and then walks away.
Yeah. So that green gun wasn't even his weapon. I think that was one of the cops' weapons.
Yeah,
he
but
just
still.
uses it better than them
He just
to
yeah.
finish the fight in like 5 seconds. It's amazing. He basically casts 2 skills, walks in, and is like, minions are dead, mobs are down, let's fight the boss.
Pretty much. It was fucking wild.
Yeah, he finishes it really fast. So they start fighting, and we get 2 transformations. Would you like to talk about those?
Okay, yes. So the first one that we get is Reiji talking to the brother, the emo bro, and he's like,
Emo bro.
"What kind of bullshit is this? I don't need to talk to you. You're the kind of people that I hate. I hate hating." Ah! And then
Essentially.
yeah, and then he ends up having such an emotional outburst that the Emor gear activates, and out pops an Emons, which is basically energy monster. And this is like the rubber suit to be all rubber suits, basically. Yep. It kind of looks like the eyeball one from original Power Rangers, but so more good. Refined.
So well crafted. They paid a lot of money to get this. Show's expensive, by the way.
Oh yeah,
just this first episode. Holy crap!
Straight up. So you get that, and then that thing's like, "Oh, I'm gonna kill you now." He's like, "No, you won't."
Yep.
"Yes, I will." "No, you won't." And then he ends up like doing his little henshin activation, does it, and then instantly transforms. Will, this is the part you want to talk about.
So we get the glowy transformation, and the monster's like, "Wait, why are you fine?" And then we get the narrator explaining what happened. So what happened is, when he transforms, apparently in the span of 1 millisecond, or some
1 millisecond.
Of a millisecond, 1 millisecond, his suit covers his entire body. The suit itself is shiny is the only word I have to describe it. I don't know how they get it that way. But whatever they do, this thing looks like the shiniest piece of chrome you have ever seen in your life.
Seriously.
Always. It is like, it's ridiculous. I almost feel like they're enhancing it in some way with like an After Effect. It might just be that shiny, because if you do it right and then you have enough lights in the right direction, it will just look like that. But man, it is very reflective.
Yes, it is.
So they show the whole thing come over him. It's 1 millisecond, and he transforms. You get the long, like, actual transformation with poses and stuff. And he does that, and then he starts fighting the dude. And this is where we get the classic. They're hitting each other. You got sparks and explosions going off. He's, like, flipping and kicking. And I think he jump kicks the guy at one point. I remember a power thing where he like, slides on his knees at one point. It's just a high quality fight, honestly.
It really is.
Episode 1, damn good fight. And he does have a special weapon, kinda. Like, he's already transformed, but he has a red energy sword that he can summon and then cover in energy, and it does more damage, so he buffs it, I guess. A lot of video game in this. And he essentially defeats the emoji thing. Do you want to kind of point anything else out about the fight or carry us through
No,
that?
you go right ahead to the end. I have something that I'm setting up for us before we end our episode tonight.
Okay. Yeah, so basically he finishes him off, the monster explodes. There's no make the monster bigger and he punches it with his robot. I'm sure that will come, don't worry. And so after he defeats it, you get the denouement where everybody's like, you saved us, yay. And then, dun dun dun, cool samurai guy. I say cool, not like I think he's cool. Like, they're just really trying to get across, this guy's really cool.
You know who he reminds me of?
They're really trying to get that across.
They really are. But you know
he was a pair of sunglasses
he reminds me of in terms of anime?
in a block of ice.
What's that one
who
show
you gonna pull?
that was done by the Cowboy Bebop creator, the one that takes place in Japan?
I mean, not the one
The
where they're
samurai
trying to
one.
take over the world.
The samurai one.
Excel Saga?
No.
Oh, you mean Gene from Samurai Champloo?
There you go, Samurai Champloo. Yes, him.
Yeah, and Gene, the one with the glasses, who's like
Yep.
super duper introverted and like kind of mumbly.
Yep, he reminds me of him.
Yeah, well, like I said, blue sword, cool character, well, quote unquote cool. Like, that's the sunglasses and a block of ice holding a sword. That's what they're going for.
Yeah.
Like, that's the whole thing. That's the design language they're aiming for with this guy. And then he transforms, and the main character's like, what? And then the episode ends. Yeah, it's essentially what happens. He transforms like, oh, you're 1-2, and he goes,
And
wait,
he
what
does
do you
it
mean
in
by
such a
1-2? And the
slow
main character
way, too.
looks
He's
at
like,
him.
you're gonna make me do this shit.
Yeah, and then so Samurai Guy transforms, and the main character's just like, and then it just cuts to credits. And they're like, next time.
So, with that being the
man.
end, that was honestly a really good pilot episode. I thought it was fantastic. We're going to do something that we started with the latest season of Big Mecha But Not Huge. It's time for the rankings.
The hell are we ranking?
I've got 4 different things that we're going to end up ranking here.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
Yep. So obviously, the very first one, as it should be, Gavan Infinity episodes ranked. Currently at number 1, it's the pilot because it's the only one out. I think that kind of, makes sense to just leave it as is until next week, right?
I think I'm going to put it in last place just to keep this even, so keep going.
You're being a dick.
You're the one who said we wanted to rank a show that only literally has one episode.
I know, but I think it's best to at least try to keep an ongoing tally, so mind your manners, you bitch.
Yeah. Okay. This is going to be real interesting in episode 44 when we're like, okay, so episode 44, we're going to rank.
So next, I know I'm probably going to have to end up doing the tiers, like the different letters. We'll figure out how we'll do that later. Next,
just remembering all these is going to be really hard.
Gavan Henshin's ranked. So, which Henshin do you want to include for this particular episode? Do you want to do the first one where he does it super fast? Or do you want to do the really ultra cool one that we should really be focusing on?
Honestly, we'll say, you can technically say there's 3 because Sword Guy transformed. But realistically, it was just the main character in two different versions.
All right. So his.
I actually kind of preferred the glowy one. It was just really interesting seeing that like happen in real time, and it just everything kept flowing.
Okay. So by the glowy one, do you mean like
I haven't seen
when
that.
he was jumping off the roof?
So like earlier in the episode, before they want to show you the like really slowed down one and explain it, so like where it just glows red and then he's in his armor and he's doing stuff, and then I like that version of the transformation because I'm very used to transformation sequences. I grew up on them in so many TV shows, anime, other shows that are live action. I've seen them a lot, and it's kind of interesting seeing them forego that and then play like the real one once, but like just kind of have everything happen in real time otherwise. It's honestly kind of nice and refreshing and kind of neat. So the novelty will probably wear off, but for now I like it a lot.
All right. So I prefer the one where they did the explanation. Since it's just us two this time, I'm going to leave this one as pending until we get the other cast members on board to try to hash it out.
I also think it's fair to wait until we have more characters, because like we're literally pitting. So do you think the main character had a better transformation or the main character? I think the main character. Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna once it gets to a point where we have all the different characters, I'm gonna probably say, all right, here's who has what, who has the better one at certain times. You know, I'll figure that out.
Laser rainbow.
Yeah, I'll figure that out later. The next one.
It'd also be fun when they have like the robots and stuff.
Yes. So the next one for Gavan Infinity favorite moments ranked. So we have to decide what our favorite moment in this particular episode was. And then eventually we'll end up having to rank it among other favorites that come around. So I'm thinking, for me personally, it's whipping out the bazooka.
It comes out of nowhere and just you're like, yep, that's the show I'm watching.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that, I'm like, this is perfect.
Wasn't fully on board, and then this was just, it crystallizes and you're like, that's what I'm watching.
But do you have a different favorite one?
Honestly, to put it all together, it probably would be realizing that despite this being modern and fresh and new and literally airing last week, and also this being the thing that is replacing Super Sentai, because the company's going to lean into this more rather than running multiple things.
Fuck you, Power Rangers.
It was the rubber suit, because the rubber suit comes. That's an American thing. This is Japan.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
But I would probably the rubber suit because it comes out of nowhere. Like they show a Halloween Town level of like transformation on the aliens where they just slap a couple things on a person's face and like a filter and like that's an alien. And then you get to the very end of the episode and they're like, oh no, we have the budget for like full vinyl suits that look amazing. We just don't waste that makeup on things that don't matter. And then the rubber suit shows up and I was like, fuck yeah. All the CG in the beginning and all that other stuff. And then they're like, oh no, we're going to have two dudes punching each other in explosions. Like, I don't know what show you thought you were watching. That's still happening. Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that a lot because the practical effects are just near and dear to my heart.
All right, so we've got one for Bazooka, one for Iman's appearance. That one will also need an argument, so we will wait until we hear from the others. And then lastly, Gavan Infinity fights ranked. So we actually have multiple fights in this one.
Yes.
I want you to go first on this.
Honestly, the toughest fights, I would say, I like how well done the one at the very end is, but the very beginning where it's him versus random dudes,
where it's like completely
it was
choreographed
really fun
from
for me as
like
somebody
beginning to end.
Oh yeah, where it's just him against nameless henchmen, and he's not even transformed for most of that fight. That I like that fight because it strikes a middle ground. So you have two different kinds of essentially fight choreography. You have make it very realistic and like super believable, which is a lot of Hong Kong cinema, John Wick, shit like that, where you really, really try to like make the audience feel everything. It's very grounded. It's meant to make it feel like the audience is there with the character. And then you have highly, highly choreographed things that are just meant to be pretty and come off more like dancing. This also includes actual dancing. I really, really like the human body in motion. It's just a thing that I really enjoy. And this hit a middle ground where my brain looked at it and is like, this is a terrible practical fight but they're all really good, and they're all kind of hitting their marks like 90% of the way. So this feels more like dancing, and it was just really enjoyable to see them all really like into it. It came off as a giant choreographed dance, and it was just really enjoyable to see, and like a lot of fun. The first fight was very, very like fun is like the only word I have for it, and it hit a middle ground for me that I haven't had before, because generally people will try to do one or the other, and
I get that completely.
Succeed or fail. But like it was fun and really enjoyable to watch, and goofy and silly, and it just felt good to see them do that. Again, a practical thing, just a bunch of people who know how to move and when to do it so that it looks cool, and then good shots.
So
yeah, it was just
almost
really
included the final fight for me. I almost used that one for my rank on this one.
It is very good. Like it
especially
is
because
well
of the
done
finisher.
Well. Just
the finisher is really fucking cool.
Yeah.
But you did win me over with that rando criminal fight scene. So we're going to put that as our number one for now. Now, I may introduce other things to rank later on, depending on what pops up in the show that I think could be, like, series mainstays, and that way we can try to keep up with it. But I think we're pretty good with what we've got right now. So, just to recap, we've got Gavan Infinity episodes ranked. Obviously, number one, the pilot. The Henshin's ranked, which is a debate currently between the second Reiji Henshin or the one with the explanation.
The short one. It's the short of the long version, essentially. For those of you who play, again, video games. Short cinematic, long cinematic.
Gavan Infinity favorite moments ranked. Currently episode 1, it's a debate between Bazooka or the Emon's appearance. And then lastly, the Gavan Infinity fights ranked, which is currently episode 1 with the first fight with the random criminals. So I think it's pretty good. It's not bad for a first episode, and for a first episode of season 2 of Toku for 2. Tune in this weekend for the first official episode, because technically I'm going to make this as a bonus episode, but tune in next weekend for the official episode where we start reviewing Space Sheriff Gavan, the original. Are you ready, Will?
Oh, yeah.
Have you started watching it yet?
Kinda. Did a little bit of episode 1, but I haven't done my full run.
Oh, you're at least ahead of me. I haven't done shit.
Speaking of rubber suits, my goodness, the first part of that episode, makes my little 1950s sci-fi heart very happy.
I can't wait. That sounds really awesome. I'll probably watch it like the night before we're supposed to do it. Well, I think we need a good sign-off for this one, so what do you think? What do we got? I want to do it themed for this particular episode.
Ooh, themed for this podcast.
Do I just shout out emo?
Someday it'll come back. No, honestly, I was going to say themed for this in general. Henshin.
No, we can't do that, because that's Kamen Rider.
No, actually, for me, that was Beautiful Joe.
You shut your bitch ass up.
I know, it makes me sad too, but someday.
That hurt on a molecular level there.
Look, there's an Okami 2. Beautiful Joe 3 will happen.
Will, help me with this sign-off. Come on.
Well, two things. I have your random. You did a lot of talking about things in the rear earlier, and yet you did not mention chess. Do yourself a favor and Google why that's related to his opening statements. Yeah.
God. Oh, fuck. All right. You know what? Toku for 2 activated. Have a good one.
Have a great night, everyone.